Hi there, everyone. Josh Rugger here in studio right now with a quick update on the severe weather potential for tomorrow across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Looks like it's a little bit higher than what it was yesterday at this current time. We expected that. Dan and I talked about that yesterday on the Facebook Live, and it looks like tomorrow we're going to see some strong to severe thunderstorms across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Certainly one of the bigger risks we've seen in quite a long time across the area. In fact, I think this is the most organized risk we've seen in quite a long time. So certainly going to be watching that very closely. I got the latest information for you here as well as on that fire weather danger. Let's get right to it right now in this live update. So let's go ahead and get to max one right now and show you that we have still got a red flag warning in effect today until 8 o'clock. So it's beginning to wind down a little bit here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But interesting to note, first of all, we may have another red flag warning tomorrow. But the Arkansas Forestry Commission released their wildfire danger today. And you notice every single county in the state of Arkansas is under an extreme risk of wildfires. Why is this important? Well, first of all, this hasn't happened since 2012. We have not seen an extreme risk for the entire state of Arkansas in a decade in terms of wildfires, in terms of the entire state of Arkansas. So that tells you just how dry it's been across the area, first of all, just how favorable the conditions are for wildfires across the area. And it certainly is a pretty sobering sight to see extreme wildfire danger like that over the entire state of Arkansas. But good news is I think tomorrow we won't have that relative humidity be quite as low as what it was today. So it will be a little bit higher. So that wildfire danger will be a little bit less tomorrow across the area. And we also will get that rain as well. So certainly very, very dry, very, very high wildfire risk. It's been like that for quite a while. And unfortunately, while we will get rain tomorrow night, it's not going to be enough to get rid of this pretty substantial wildfire danger. All right, let's get right into the severe weather now because the severe weather risk has gone up quite a bit. And that's what we want to talk about today because it is, to me, a pretty substantial risk. Now, it's nothing that's going to be, crazy out of this world. It's not going to be a severe weather outbreak, but it's something that we haven't seen in a long time across the area. So it's something, a lot of times when we don't have severe weather for a while, we can let our guard down a little bit. So it's something to watch. So let's go ahead and see the kind of setup that's going on here. And let's go ahead and I'll answer some questions after we get through the main graphics first, and I'll answer the questions that I see in the chat right now. But I want to go ahead and get through the setup and what kind of severe weather we could be seeing tomorrow. So let's go ahead and take me off the screen here. So what we've got going on right now is we've got two low pressure systems that are going to impact our weather tomorrow night across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. The first of these is going to be this low pressure system that is in the northeast right now. This is a very strong low pressure system. You can see that energy that's wrapping around it right now. And this cold front is going to be the catalyst for those showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night. You already see a little bit of rain shower activity in southwest Missouri beginning to form right there. So could see some isolated showers tonight in northwest Arkansas. We've also got a shortwave trough low pressure beginning to move towards the northeast. And this, to me, is what's going to really fire off those severe thunderstorms tomorrow. So if you take a look at water vapor here, that storm potential is increasing for tomorrow night. And look how strong these low pressure systems. I mean, look at that low in the northeast. And we talked about this yesterday. These are very powerful low pressure systems that are moving through the area tomorrow night. And not only is this going to allow for that severe weather tomorrow night, it's also going to bring in a ton of cold weather. Yes, I said cold weather because next week we could see our first freeze of the year in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. But let's go ahead and get to the severe weather risk. Now, remember, this is the day 2 convective outlook, right? So this is the latest update we got on this, and I'm going to go back to WSI here. The latest update we got on this was earlier today, earlier this morning. So we haven't gotten an update since then, but we'll get another update overnight tonight. But as of right now, a slight risk of severe weather for the River Valley at this current time. That's where we're expecting the main severe weather risk to be. So right around Crawford County, Sebastian County, Scott County, and Flora County right now in that slight risk of severe weather. And then a marginal risk of severe weather in most of northwest Arkansas right now. The most likely time frame for these storms, late Saturday evening into Sunday morning. So it's going to be an overnight severe weather threat, which is something that we certainly need to watch very closely because a lot of us will be sleeping overnight tomorrow, and this can catch us off guard. So we're going to have to continue to watch that. Now, what about in terms of our hazards? Well, it looks like the main risks are going to be damaging winds and large hail. So it's a low end right now. on both of those, slight risk for that. Flash flooding is also a concern because of how dry we've been. And there's also a concern for training thunderstorms. But you notice here on the tornado risk, not zero. And now, right now, the Storm Prediction Center does not have a tornado risk at all on their map right now. It's not even to 2%, I think, but it's non-zero. And Dan and I talked about this yesterday. What does a non-zero tornado risk mean? It just means that there's a very, very, very low-end threat for tornadoes to form. Now, tomorrow we're going to have that boundary moving through. Along that boundary and north of it, I think that's where the tornado risk will be greatest tomorrow. And that's because we're going to get a little bit more shear along that boundary, which is kind of what's the limiting factor right now in terms of severe weather, a lack of really strong shear, which is just a changing of winds of height. But there will be enough along that boundary to get some spin ups and maybe a tornado or two tomorrow. So we're going to have to watch that. It's not something outlandish, but as we know from earlier this year, it can catch you off guard when you least expect it. All right, let's take a look at Future Track. This is the latest graph model run. We'll look at this one first, and then we'll also look at the HRRR. Let's go ahead and time that out for you. So there's those showers moving through northwest Arkansas late tonight. Nothing to really write home about, but it's going to move through and could provide a quick burst of rain. We'll definitely take that. That'll move out by the time we get to the early morning hours tomorrow. Now, notice this across the area. Nothing really tomorrow in terms of shower storm activity across northwest Arkansas, the River Valley. So it should be a nice day tomorrow. Head outside. Don't cancel any plans. It looks like it's going to be a good day out there. But after that, once we get to the late afternoon, early evening hours, that's when those thunderstorms really begin to fire off. And at least according to the graph, most of those storms are going to form first in the Ouachitas and in the River Valley. This is where we're going to have our greatest severe weather potential, in my opinion. We're going to have that maximum amount of instability from all that warm air that we see earlier in the day. We're also going to have a lot of moisture in the area as well. So early evening, I think, is when the greatest severe weather risk will be here in the River Valley. After that, more storms begin to explode in northwest Arkansas as well. They're going to form very quickly. This is going to be very explosive development in terms of these showers and thunderstorms, especially when that shortwave trough really taps into the atmosphere. And then look at this, training thunderstorms over the same areas. And this is where that flash flooding risk really comes into play, because once that happens, you get some pretty hefty rainfall totals. We don't know exactly where that heaviest rain axis is going to set up, but the threat is there. And so we're certainly going to have to watch that overnight, Saturday night. Those showers and thunderstorms really begin to shift into the River Valley. And then by the time we get to the early morning hours Sunday, all of that begins to dissipate and move out of the area. So what are we thinking in terms of our rainfall risk? Now, remember, marginal risk just means isolated flash floods are possible Saturday overnight and Sunday morning. However, I will say this about the excessive rainfall forecast. I think the only reason why it's not a slight right now is because we don't exactly know where that heaviest rain axis is going to set up. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of, first of all, how much rain is going to fall in general. Second of all, where those training thunderstorms develop. So I do believe we will see flash flood warnings overnight tomorrow night. No doubt about it, because it's been so dry over the last month or so. The water's not going to be able to be held in by the ground as well. And then those training thunderstorms over those same areas are really going to allow for that excessive rainfall to really be enhanced overnight tomorrow. So marginal risk as of now for excessive rainfall, but don't be surprised if that goes up tomorrow. And I'll certainly have another Facebook Live tomorrow to get you updated on that. Now, here's the reason why it's marginal right here. Look at the 4-panel rainfall accumulations, right? So here's the graph. Remember, yesterday, the graph was showing barely any rainfall at all in northwest Arkansas. Now it's got upwards of an inch, maybe a little bit higher amounts in northwest Arkansas. River Valley, it's got that axis of 3+ inches of rain, which is a lot of rain. That would be a lot of rain. That would be flash flooding right there for sure. Now, as we look at the European and GFS, remember, these are not high-resolution models, right? These are not like the graph. These are not like the HRRR. So they can't get those mesoscale details quite as well as the graph of the HRRR, those higher resolution models. So these rainfall totals are not really showing the axis of heavy rain, but it's got the right general idea, I think, in terms of there will be widespread half-inch to inch amounts, maybe locally higher in some areas. The GFS has barely any rainfall at all in northwest Arkansas, and really this is the outlier right now. I think there will be pretty substantial rainfall in northwest Arkansas. I think there'll be enough moisture that surges north. The cold front won't pass through as quickly as what the GFS is showing. I think there will be widespread, pretty substantial rainfall. GFS, though, has the right idea in the River Valley. That's where the heaviest rain is going to set up. Look at the NAM, though. The NAM yesterday was showing most of the rain in northwest Arkansas. It's showing most of the rain still here in this latest model run. So the point is, we've got a lot of uncertainty in terms of how much rain is going to fall right now. We are going to see meaningful rainfall. Not going to be drought busting at all. However, I do think it will aid at least a little bit in terms of our wildfire danger. That's pretty much out of control right now here across northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Let's go ahead real quick and look at the NAM 3-kilometer model, because we looked at the graph just a moment ago. But let's look at the NAM real quick, because I want to see what it's showing here. I want to see what idea it's got in terms of the rain potentially being more in northwest Arkansas tomorrow, which I don't think will be the case. But there's that little shot of rain early tonight, overnight tonight, and then clearing out of the area tomorrow. And then here we go. Thunderstorms first developing in the River Valley. I do buy that. And then it should explode in northwest Arkansas as well. Not quite as much. Kind of stays a little bit further south of northwest Arkansas, though that's realistic. That's going to be the case. We're going to see that rain, most of the rain be in the River Valley, but it doesn't show as much as what the NAM is showing. That's the NAM 3-kilometer. I guess I was looking at the NAM itself, but all the models are showing strong thunderstorms moving through the area. Let's look at the HRRR real quick here. Okay, so there's that early round of rain overnight tonight. Then tomorrow, look at those storms firing off in the early evening hours, training over the same spots. This one's got a little bit further north in terms of those heavier precipitation totals, and then it sags out of the area after that. All right, so point being, a lot of rain potential tomorrow across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Let's get to some questions now in the chat. All right. Doing great, Karen. Doing great. Looking forward to tomorrow night. I'm going to get a lot of rest tonight because I feel like I'm going to be up pretty late tomorrow. And I will do live streams tomorrow for sure with those storms coming in. And of course, if we have a tornado, Dan will be here as well, and we'll fire it off on the news as well. I don't think the tornado risk is going to be that big. I'm not expecting tornadoes. However, the risk is there. Low-end risk is there. So we're going to have to continue to watch that. I think we're going to get that elusive rain finally, Mark. I think it's happening tomorrow night. Do you expect an upgrade to slight risk for Washington County? That's a good question, Jacob. I am going to lean towards no at this current time. The reason why is I don't think the bulk shear is going to be quite as favorable in northwest Arkansas. I don't think the dew points or the amount of moisture we're getting is also as favorable. I'm also a little worried about that boundary sagging too far south tomorrow overnight in terms of those severe weather potential. So I don't think there will be an upgrade to the slight risk for Washington County. Could it still happen? Could the models change their mind a little bit? I certainly do think so. Timeline, late tomorrow night into Sunday morning. So the main severe weather risk starts coming through once the sun goes down. Now, if we get any storms that form before that, the severe weather risk is going to be quite high. The reason why is because we're going to have a tremendous amount of instability. Boundaries still won't be that far south. It's going to really tap into that moisture. I think any storms that form before 7 o'clock have a very good potential to be severe. After 7 o'clock, still there, not quite as high as what we're going to see in the late afternoon. Do you think weather radio will be going off tomorrow night? I do think so, Daniel. And that's why it's important to keep the weather radio by your bedside in case. Again, this is the first time we've seen severe weather in quite a long time here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So it's important to have that plan in place, obviously. Just make sure you're weather aware. I don't think this is a huge severe weather risk, but it's substantial enough to keep an eye on for sure. So yes, have that weather radio by your bedside tomorrow. Make sure it's on. And I do think it will be going off tomorrow night, at least with severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. It's tomorrow night, Jared. Tomorrow night. Laura, I had ice on top of my car this morning in Kingston. That's interesting, Laura. Let's look at this real quick, okay? Because I was talking to Dan about this as well, and Dan was really adamant about this, about temperatures being a little bit colder last night than maybe what the models were showing. So let's go ahead and pull up the low temperatures last night, and let's see just how cold it got here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, because I'm interested to see what happened. Okay, so it got down to 39 in X&A, 38 in Fayetteville. It got into the upper 30s. And just to the east of there, middle to upper 30s as well 40 degrees in Harrison, 43 in Fort Smith. Laura, I buy it. Well, it wasn't ice. Now, first of all, it wasn't ice, Laura. It was probably frost, right? Some patchy frost. But it's a little warning shot because we're going to have a widespread freeze next week, and I'll show you that in just a moment. What about Southwest Missouri, Karen? Yes, not as high, and I don't think the severe weather risk is very substantial in Southwest Missouri tomorrow, Karen. Let's go back to that severe weather graphic real quick here so you can see that. Notice, as of right now, there's no marginal risk in Southwest Missouri, but that could certainly change as we move throughout, the overnight hours tonight when they issue the day one convective outlook. That could shift a little further north, so we'll watch that closely. Okay. Good. We need the rain. I agree, Diane. We need the rain desperately. No 7 p.m. KXNW on Fridays, Jacob. Football, high school football on at KXNW. No 7 o'clock news, thankfully. I say thankfully because I'd rather be doing this right now. All right, Matthew. Hi, Josh. What are the winds looking like through the day tomorrow? Got a float plan, but don't want to fight a headwind. Matthew, blustery tomorrow. Southwest winds tomorrow. 10 to 20 miles per hour once again. Thankfully, the fire weather risk won't be quite as high as what we've seen the last couple of days because those relative humidity values will be a little bit higher than what they were the last couple of weeks. Could we be seeing more rain next week? And I can't get this comment off the screen, and I don't know why. I think we're getting a little glitch in the system here by StreamYard. Oh, there we go. Hold on. There we go. All right. We got a little bit of technical difficulties there. Could we be seeing some rain next week, says Mark? Not likely, Mark. And let me show you why that is. Because we are going to see the jet stream not be favorable for thunderstorms as we head into next week. So let's kind of look at that. So look at this split flow pattern here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley right now. We're going to see a little bit of convergence with that. And look at this dip. That is cold weather straight from the Arctic coming down into Arkansas Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. I mean, that is bitter cold. That's wintertime cold right there. That's the pattern you usually see in the wintertime. But notice this. We just don't have a favorable pattern for any thunderstorms. Even though the jet stream pattern is there, we don't have a lot of moisture return. It's going to be very, very dry. We're going to get blocked off. It looks like we may have a ridge building in as well. I don't know why it's not loading all my data right now. Oh, there we go. So you see this right here? It looks like we may have a little ridge building in right here as we head throughout late next week. That's why the temperatures could be a little bit warmer tomorrow, or not tomorrow, late next week here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. So that kind of develops late week. And then after that, as we head into Sunday and the week after, then we might see a little bit more of a favorable pattern for thunderstorms. So could we see any rain next week? Maybe by the time we get into Monday, October 24th, we could see some more shower and storm activity. But after this event that we get this week, Mark, I don't think we're going to see any more showers and thunderstorms here in Northwest Arkansas for the rest of next week. All right, what about Western Grove? Tomorrow night, now I'm terrified. Well, first of all, Alexis, don't be too scared. It's not a big severe weather outbreak expected here in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley. But it's a severe risk. It's something to keep in mind tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this again here. Our risk of severe weather tomorrow. It's a slight risk of severe weather for the River Valley and marginal risk for Northwest Arkansas. So nothing crazy, but still there. And you see here on the severe weather hazards, the main risk, again, are going to be gusty winds and large hail. Non-zero threat of a tornado, not very high, but certainly something we have to keep an eye on. And if you watch here on Future Track, those thunderstorms that come through, they're going to be loud, but loudness doesn't equate to strength. And so, these storms will be packing a punch, but I don't think it's nothing to be too scared of, Alexis. And here's the good news. I'll be here tomorrow night, with the latest information on Facebook Live. I'll get you through it tomorrow night here. So again, severe weather risk is there, but nothing too major, and those storms will move out by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. Then we'll have pleasant weather for the rest of the week here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. We are coming back from Branson tomorrow night to Prairie Creek. What time should we get home before it hits? Well, those thunderstorms are going to be developing. I don't know what time you're leaving, Stacy, but according at least to this model, those storms are ramping up right around 7 o'clock in the River Valley and then forming pretty darn quickly in Northwest Arkansas by about 9 o'clock. So if you want to get home before it hits, probably 6 to 7 o'clock is the time you need to get home if you want to avoid any rain. After that, it's going to be a pretty big downpour on the way back. I believe it, Jason. I believe it. Not quite a freeze yet, but patchy frost for sure. If you got down to that cold, and I believe it too, because we had a lot colder weather last night. How cold are we talking? All right, Drew. I was hoping for this question because it's going to be cold. In fact, you look at the low temperatures we've got for Tuesday night, 25 degrees. That may be too warm. I mean, the trend has been further and further towards the cold end of the spectrum as we move into Tuesday night. So I'll tell you right now, Tuesday night, Drew, I'll say right now, I would not be shocked at all. And this might be a bold prediction, but I'm known for those. I would not be shocked if in the valleys of Northwest Arkansas, we saw temperatures in the upper teens. That's a bold dart throw there, but I'm serious. It's going to be bitterly cold Tuesday night into Wednesday across Northwest Arkansas. So definitely very, very cold out there. But notice after that, we are going to see a slight warming trend. But again, widespread frost. If you've got plants, get them inside because the freeze is happening next week. I know a freeze is going to happen next week. In terms of just how cold it will get, that's still a little bit uncertain. But I'll tell you, a few days ago, we had the low temperature for Tuesday night at 33. We now have it at 25, 8 degrees, the difference, and it's going down every single day. So bitterly cold temperatures expected. And even Monday night, we could have a freeze as well. 31 degrees for a low. That's got room to go down. Wednesday night lows right around the 30 to 34 degree range. So definitely very, very cold out there in the River Valley. Not quite in the freeze range yet, but patchy frost certainly possible Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. My weather machine jumped 60 degrees today from 33 to 93. Whoa, Jacob. Might want to get either a radiation guard or put it into a more protected area out of direct sunlight, because I think that's why your temperature gauge is just a little bit warmer. Because if you look here, I'll show you the high temperatures today. It got warm, but it did not get up to 93 today in Northwest Arkansas, the River Valley. You notice here temperatures in the lower 80s in Benton County and in Washington County in the River Valley. High temperatures today got pretty toasty. Upper 80s right around Fort Smith, 88 in Stigler, 86 in Tahlequah, 87 in Russellville. But no 90s yet. Now, tomorrow, maybe could see some 90-degree readings in the River Valley for sure. Right now, we've got the high temperature tomorrow at 89, but would not be surprised to see 90 degrees tomorrow. That tells you how much instability we're going to be working with. And anytime you got those systems coming through and the big temperature drop like that, a big temperature gradient, yeah, you're going to get severe weather. So certainly something to be watching. Facebook user, I don't know if this is Richard or not. You're like a miniature Dan. Great work. Well, I say this all the time. I've been watching Dan ever since I was young 12-year-old me when we moved up here to Northwest Arkansas. So I've definitely taken some bits and pieces of what he does for sure and try to apply it to myself. But thank you, Facebook user. I'm assuming that's Richard, but thank you for the kind words. I take that as a big-time compliment. All right. Going to end this Facebook Live in a few minutes. If there's any more questions, make sure you send them to me real quick, and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. But one more time, I'm going to show that severe weather risk here for Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley, level 1 and a 2. For Northwest Arkansas, 2 out of 5 in the River Valley. A few severe thunderstorms likely late Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Again, this is the day 2 convective outlook, and we'll see the day 1 convective outlook tomorrow here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Certainly a lot can change there. Main severe weather risk, again, large hail, damaging winds, flash flooding concerns also there. Cannot rule out a tornado or two as well along the boundary. Timing that out for you on future track real quick. Isolated showers early. Those clear out late tonight. And then tomorrow looks like a pretty nice day. Then those thunderstorms really get cranking up as we head throughout the evening hours and into the overnight hours, Saturday night into Sunday morning. So I'm going to stop it right about here so everybody can see just how strong those storms will be as they move through. We'll check to see if we got any more questions real quick, and then we'll call her good. Reminder, I will have Facebook Live tomorrow. I'm going to try and fire one up a little bit. I know the Razorback game's tomorrow at 2:30, so I'll fire one up after the 6 o'clock news tomorrow. So at 6:30, we'll fire up a Facebook Live, or we'll wait for the storms to form. I haven't decided yet, but we'll get a Facebook Live going tomorrow as these storms are moving through, and we'll get you through the night. It could be a long night tonight, at least for myself. So, but I'll be here, and we'll get you through these thunderstorms, and hopefully we'll get through with as little severe weather as possible. Deanna, I hope I said your name right. If I didn't say your name right, Deanna, spell it out in the chat. I'm going to make sure I get it right from now on. But I really do appreciate it. I take that as the highest compliment possible, because Dan is, I think, the best in the business, for sure. All right, let's go. I said it right. Perfect. Well, Deanna, thank you so much for the kind words. Really, really appreciate it once again. Compressional warming tomorrow. A little bit of that, Jacob. A little bit of that for sure. Especially, and I'm kind of going to make this comparison here. Let's go back to the current surface map here real quick to show you. It's going to be kind of like a pressure cooker tomorrow, right? Where you get squeezed in between a couple of low pressure systems and you get some warmer air. So look here on the surface map, right? You got, and I'm going to move myself out of the way here. Got that low pressure to the northeast right now, and near Wisconsin and Michigan. Another low pressure system in the desert southwest. This is that shortwave trough that's moving through. Both of these are moving through at the same time. So then you got a little bit of convergence there. And yes, out ahead of that front, we will see some compressional warming tomorrow, especially in the River Valley. By the way, one more graphic I do want to show before I forget here. I want to show the Microburst explanation, because that's what we're going to mainly see tomorrow. We're going to see microburst potential tomorrow here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So let's go ahead and fire that up real quick, and then we'll call it good. I know a lot of people probably are tuned out now because we're getting a little bit geeky, but I know some people out there, I know there's a lot of questions about microburst and downburst. That's going to be the main threat tomorrow in the River Valley. So let's go ahead and look at the look at this explanation real quick on what exactly that entails, and then we'll call it good. Explanation graphics, microburst. There it is. All right. So the main risk tomorrow, again, gusty hail, gusty winds, and large hail. Can you imagine gusty hail? Wind-driven hail is absolutely terrifying, guys. Driving through it, it is absolutely terrifying. So let's go ahead and look at what a microburst is real quick, because we had a lot of those during the summertime, and we're going to have some of those tomorrow as well. So you've got a thunderstorm, you've got dry air in the middle levels of the atmosphere, a little bit of evaporative cooling as well. In the upper levels, that cool air falls and accelerates because the thunderstorm is collapsing. So when you get that collapse, right, think of it as a shower, right? Like if you're in the shower, all that rain is coming out of the shower head. It falls apart, spreads out everywhere, and that allows for a microburst. And once that air hits the ground, it's going to be forced outwards like this, right? And that's going to allow for very strong winds in a very small area, but they can be very powerful, up to 100 miles per hour, up to 2 miles away from where that microburst happens. So microburst potential, very high tomorrow. In fact, we were looking at the soundings earlier today, an enhanced V sounding, and I'll show you what an enhanced V looks like real quick. I know I said I was going to end this, but I can't help myself here. So an enhanced V sounding, go ahead and and look at that real quick. Matter of fact, I could probably show it on Pivotal Weather. Show that enhanced V that we're seeing tomorrow. Sleet, freezing rain. It's not showing me anything yet here. Hold on, stand by. I'm going to go ahead and get that enhanced V sounding that we're going to see tomorrow. Because I do want to show what the main risks are tomorrow. There is a non-zero tornado risk. Everybody I know may be a little bit worried about the tornado risk. I think that's the least of the worries tomorrow. It's going to take a lot for that tornado risk that does exist to actually come together tomorrow. It's very, very unlikely, but it's there. The microburst risk, the large hail risk, the flash flooding risk especially, all are greater than what the tornado risk is tomorrow. So let's go ahead and try and pull up a sounding real quick here. It's not going to be the best because it is Pivotal Weather. So it's not going to be, one of those soundings over a location. But it will give you the idea of what we're going to see tomorrow for sure. So let's go ahead and skip ahead to tomorrow evening. All right, stand by. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen real quick here. Let's see, present, share screen. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the way. And boom, we'll share it. All right, hopefully everybody can see that there. But this is an example of an enhanced V sounding, right? So you can see right here, this is your temperature parcel. This is your dew point parcel, right? Look at this amount of cape that we've got here. A lot of instability in the river valley tomorrow. But notice here on this photograph, not very favorable for tornadoes, at least according to the European. Critical angles not there either. So tornado risk very low tomorrow, still non-zero though. But the main risk again is those microbursts. And when I say enhanced V, this is what it is. You see the temperature parcel spreading out to the right, dew point parcel spreading out to the left, and it kind of looks like a V shape. And that allows for that microburst potential to be very, very high tomorrow here in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Let's see if I can pull up another sounding here for tomorrow. First of all, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. Let's go regional. And now let's do a different model run. Let's see what the HRRR's got for tomorrow, because we can actually take a look at that and see what we've got there. I know we're getting a little geeky here, but I want to see what we're dealing with tomorrow. So you know what? I'm not going to do Arkansas. Let's go regional. Let's go here. There's the temperatures. Let's go to severe weather. First of all, let's go ahead and look at our CAPE. Our CAPE values tomorrow across the area. And I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen because it kind of looks a little weird. So not a lot of instability according to the HRRR there, at least in terms of our 0 to 3 kilometer CAPE. Whoops, mixed layer CAPE. Let's look at our mixed layer CAPE as well. Okay, a little bit more return there. So there is some instability there that we're working with. And again, look at this. This is a late afternoon, early evening. That's when it's going to be maxed out, because once we lose that daytime heating, we do lose a lot of that instability. So any thunderstorms that do form beforehand there will have the best chance to be severe. Look at that enhanced V. Big time microburst potential tomorrow in the river valley. Now, why is the tornado risk not very high? We don't have a lot of bulk shear, kind of displaced there a little bit here in Northwest Arkansas in the river valley. I don't think the tornado risk is that impressive, to be honest. But it exists barely, and it's something that we do have to keep an eye on for sure tomorrow afternoon. All righty, I think that should be enough. I think everybody got the general idea. We went a little bit geeky there, but again, thunderstorm development tomorrow, likely tomorrow night into Sunday morning. Have another Facebook Live fired up tomorrow just in case, and we'll get you through it as it happens tomorrow here on Facebook Live. And if we do see any tornado warnings, we'll also be on the live broadcast on air. All right, everybody. Well, hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the evening out there. Enjoy the nice weather that we have this evening and at least tomorrow as well. It should be a great day tomorrow, a little bit toasty out there. And then after that, we'll get to enjoy some very, very cool temperatures next week. In fact, we could have winter-like temperatures by the time we get to next Tuesday. All righty, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. Go Hogs, by the way. Score prediction real quick. Hogs beat BYU 42-41. BYU misses an extra point with 6 seconds to go to lose that game. So go Hogs. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow.